Hello everybody and welcome to my channel Victorian Kitten. My name is Sarah and today I am going to be doing a tutorial on how to put your hair up for underneath a wig cap. As you can see, I have pretty long and thick hair. I actually used to think for a while that, I can't wear wigs because I have so much hair, and I generally see people wearing wigs that have shorter hair where it's not a lot of fuss to get it put up underneath a wig and it's no problem. And then I started doing research and I realized that no, I can put my hair up. It is entirely reasonable and feasible for me to do so. I have been wearing wigs actively for maybe a couple of years now. I'm still learning a lot, so what works for me might not work for you, but hopefully this will be able to help some people if they haven't found a method that's really worked for them. So, one of the first things you'll need is a wig cap with the top cut off. So I basically just took a regular wig cap and I just cut off along the seam so that there's an opening. And I'll put it over my head and pull my hair through. It does help a bit to straighten it out to make sure that when you're ready you can pull it up and you're not fussing around with it. For the next step, I'm just going to pull my hair. It doesn't have to be precise. I usually just kind of separate it out in half by feel. You can brush your hair at this step if you want. You don't have to. I like to because my hair gets tangled super easily, so it just helps for when I'm braiding it, it goes a bit easier, and it also means when I take my hair out, it's going to come out, decent. I don't feel like I have to brush it immediately. So once you have your wig cap down and you have your hair parted, the next step is going to be braid. So after I braid my hair, I tend to use these little hair bands. They're just basic clear ones that you can find at most stores that have hair supplies. I find with how thick my hair is, they still hold. Generally one use and they're stretched out enough where I have to toss them and use a new one, but they're fairly inexpensive. I want to say depending on where you get them, you can get maybe 100 or so for like a few bucks, which really isn't that bad depending on how often you wear wigs. But anyways, okay, so I've gotten my cap on, I've gotten my hair part, I have the hair bands, so I'm actually going to start braiding. So I'll brush my hair behind my ear. And again, you don't really have to be super precise. You just have to remember it's going to be underneath the wig cap, so it's not, no one's going to tell if you're not super precise with what you're doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it and I'm just going to do a basic braid. You don't want to pull it too tight. You don't want to create a lot of bulk because when you put your hair up after braiding it, there is going to be some bulk there as it is. The less bulk you have, the better, so that it's less likely to show. So just getting this all braided down. Sorry, it takes a mix. As you can see, I have a lot of hair. I've actually been growing my hair out for a number of years at this point. I don't look good in short hair. I just don't. Just take my word for it. It's not pretty. I've gotten my first braid down, so I'm going to get this. So I generally just do about 3, just enough to make sure that it holds and it's not just going to randomly come loose. And once your braids are up and underneath, it's generally going to stay and you don't have to worry. I will say that with these particular bands, sometimes when I go to take my hair out, they've broken, which, again, not a big deal. I generally get one use out of them anyways, which I'm pretty okay with. I've tried some other styles of them, and a lot of them are actually a bit too bulky for my tastes. Again, this is just what I use. If you have something that you like better, don't feel like you have to change to what I use just because it's what I use. Like, use what works best for you. almost done with the second braid here. So, and as you can see, it's pretty loose. I don't have the braid pulled tight to my scalp. That's going to help when it's time to actually position the braid after you have both your braids done. Okay, so I have my second braid done and get this banded up. And you'll notice that they're not quite even, that one. Again, no big deal, you're just hiding anyways. So I'm taking my braid and I'm wrapping it down, up and around. So I kind of have it positioned on top of my head here. And this is where you use bobby pins. So I generally only use one per braid. You can use more than that. Just bobby pins after a while tend to irritate my scalp. So get this pinned up here, and then I mostly just do it to hold the braids in place before I pull up the wig cap. So then you'll pull your other braid in the opposite direction. You notice I'm putting it behind the first. To cut down on bulk, you want to do your best to not cross them over in the back to keep it last amount of bulk. And then you'll see like I have some hanging out here. When I pull up my wig cap, that's not going to matter because it's going to catch it. That's part of why I put the wig cap on first before anything else. So I have that one up. Oh, didn't pin it down too well. And now the bobby pin doesn't want to come out. This is part of why I don't like using a bunch of them because frankly they're just a pain. Okay. Hopefully this time it'll stick. Oh, I can feel it. Okay, there we go. So you have your braids pinned down. Like I said, you can use as few or as many bobby pins as you want. My preference is just to use 2. It also makes it when it's time to take it out a lot easier. So now I'm going to take this and pull it up. So part of the process is making sure that everything's getting caught underneath. Something. Sometimes hairs will get caught a bit on my earrings, but that's life. So I've got it pulled up, so I'm actually pulling this further up now. So you can see I have majority of my hair is underneath the wig cap now. If you have those little hairs that you can just kind of push them back and under at this point. Mine don't always like to stay under. I just have really weird hairs. So at this point, you're going to take a second wig cap. So notice this one does have the top. I haven't cut this one. And I start from behind and just kind of pull it up and around and make sure that it is kind of covering the first. I like to use a more flesh tone one as the top because then if you have a thinner wig, it's going to show more like it's your scalp rather than it's like, oh, there's hair underneath, or where if it's white, it's going to be more obvious. So, and as you can see, my hair is pretty firmly up underneath this. The other thing is you'll notice that the bobby pins will poke through some. That's another reason that I don't use a lot of bobby pins because they will poke holes in your, like this one, see? It poked a hole right through my wig cap. You can still use it even if it has a hole in it. I usually will reuse my wig caps until they are just in shreds. But that'll vary person to person. If you throw them out after one, that you do you. This is just how I do it. But now I have my wig cap on. So the next step is for the wig. So right here I just have a basic curled wig. This is one that I got off of Wish, which I've personally found the ones off of Wish aren't really that terrible. They're great if you aren't planning on doing anything super fancy. They're not really great for styling because if you want to style them, you want to add more to them because they can be pretty thin. But anyways, for my head, I have the straps adjusted so that they're on the very first. I'm going to take my wig, start from behind, and then I pull it up. Make sure that I'm covering as much of the wig cap as possible. And I kind of adjust. It's a bit easier in front of a mirror. But you want to try and get the part where it's centered. And voila, I have my wig on. And so you can see, you'll still get a bit of a bump. So having wigs that are a bit thicker will actually help cover up any bumps or bulges. Like it just depends on the look you're going for. If you're okay with it being kind of obvious that you're wearing a wig, no big deal. Or if you want it to look nicer and look like, hey, maybe that's their actual hair, I would definitely suggest a better quality wig than this. This is just what I happen to have laying around and ready to put on. I will try and do another video at some point with a actually higher quality wig that I brought from Tasty Peach Studios. Like I said, this one's from Wish. They're great for practicing. They're cheap. So you're not spending $50 and then potentially ruining your wig and being like, oh man, I spent $50+ on those wig and now it's ruined and destroyed. Like I said, just depends on what you're looking for. But there you go. That is how to put your hair up for wearing a wig when you have long and thick hair. I hope that you all have a wonderful day and that you are enjoying the holidays, whatever you might celebrate. Bye.